Welcome back, everybody, to the Sunday Wire. I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. We're streaming out live on the Alternate Current Radio Network and also at 21stCenturyWire.com. We're also going out audio on Spreaker.com as well. And we're doing a special video simulcast for our viewers on Twitter, on that platform, or X Twitter, as it's now known. And also, we'll be streaming out to our fans on Facebook as well, on our Facebook page, and also on YouTube, if YouTube allows this to go. Hopefully, we can play it there and not get dinged with any sort of strike or something like that, which seems to happen quite often on YouTube. Thank you for rejoining us. And if you were listening to the live audio broadcast before, we had a guest on, Robert Inlakesh, before the guest, talking about Gaza, talking about the broader issue of Palestine and the Middle East. It was a stunning segment, and Robert was unbelievable. We're so grateful that he was able to spend over an hour with us. He's a fantastic journalist and a formidable geopolitical analyst, especially when it comes to the Middle East. So thank you very much, Robert Inlakesh, for joining us on that live segment. Now, we're going to do something a little bit different in this segment. We're going to be welcoming a very special guest on the line right now, recording artist Joseph Arthur, who, well, among his many accolades, he's also a host at TNT on his weekend show, the amazing Technicolor Dreamcast, hosted by Joseph Arthur on TNT. He's joining us on the live link right now. Hopefully we've got him. Joseph, can you hear us okay? Okay, so we're going to go back to sort of trying to sort out what the audio situation is on Joseph's side. But anyway, we'll go back to Joseph in a minute because we weren't getting audio signal, unfortunately, for Joseph there. But what we're going to do with this segment with Joseph is when we get him set up, hopefully we're going to hear about his new track. And he wrote this song. There's a story behind it. We'll review that situation. But it's called Ceasefire Now, and it's a fantastic song. It's written by Joseph. Yeah, Joseph, give us a thumbs up backstage. There he is.
Check. Okay, you got me? Okay,
Yeah, there we
sorry.
can hear you there.
How
Yeah, loud and clear,
professional.
mate.
Yeah, awesome. Good to be
Loud and
here. Thanks
clear.
for having me.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you as well. Really appreciate you. Yeah, and give us a little more juice on your
Check.
mic, on your input.
Oh,
That'll be
juice?
good.
More juice?
Yeah, a
Okay,
little more
check.
juice.
1, 2, 1, 2. How's that? Better?
A little less
Check
juice,
one.
actually. A
A
little bit
little
less.
less. Sorry. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, and our producer Hasher, give us a thumbs up if you're getting Joseph good on your end. So Joseph, thanks for joining us on the Sunday Wire. It's kind of an unusual segment we're doing here. We just started doing some video of some featured guests like yourself, but welcome to the program. And we're also like really keen to hear about your new track. We're going to play the
Mm-hmm.
video in a couple of minutes, but just tell us about, well, a little bit about your feelings on this issue that we're talking about today earlier with Robert. Obviously, what's going on in the Middle East and Gaza, it's a big story. It's affected a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Most notably those in the region, but in the West as well. How we're viewing this, and this song that you've done, which you released a while ago on Twitter, on X, but
Mm-hmm.
you've also now done the proper release. It's up online. We've got a link to it on our show page, actually, to your Bandcamp page. It's available for
Yeah.
download. But yeah, tell us about this, Joseph.
Well, I mean, you were there the night I wrote it. You helped me actually. I wrote some lyrics and we kind of wrote it together in some kind of way, at least spiritually speaking. So and you know, I mean, I was just on James Wood's Twitter feed, and he was like, "We need to end this." And I was like, by end this, it was an angry Palestinian woman, I guess, chanting hateful stuff about Jews. And it was like, what it seemed implied by previous posts he had made was, I don't know. I asked, what do you mean by end this? Do you mean end Palestinians? I mean, because you can't end Hamas by carpet bombing civilians, because Hamas will arise out of the ashes of the children and the vengeance of the fathers that have lost their children. And when you see all the children, and you see the numbers. And again, we're being propagandized left, right, and center. I had some Jewish friends of mine recently reach out and say, "Hey, man, I'm looking at your Twitter stuff, and you're getting propagandized, and you're telling everyone, be careful of propaganda." Well, you're falling for their propaganda. So, I mean, it's one of these things where it's real confusing and real complicated, except for the fact of children should not be getting bombs dropped on them. And so ceasefire to me is a good home base to land on. It's like whatever, apparently I had posted something on X that was from a different battle, and I had it was going around that was like, this child got shot, and I had an emotional reaction to that. And he was like, that's not even from Gaza, that's misinformation. And I was like, well, dude, I mean, I don't know what the number is of children. I think I saw a post you just did that said it was over 8,000. I think even if it's half that, even if it's an eighth of that, even if it's one child, it's too much in my opinion. So I just feel like calling for ceasefire is the humane thing to do. And then, of course, all the geopolitical aspects, the fact that it's an open air concentration camp. If you want to get rid of Hamas, try treating everyone as an equal, as naive as that might sound. If you really want to rout out Hamas, that would be the way to do it, because you're not making yourself safer by carpet bombing civilians and creating people with monstrous levels of rage inside of them, because that rage goes somewhere. And you take out a man's children, you have an enemy for life. I mean, vengeance is the Lord's, but you got to be pretty enlightened to wait for God's timeline on that. So,
And so, tell us about your kind of journey in kind of understanding what's going on in this part of the world. Did you have a different view before October 7th than you do now, or were you following this before? What's your kind
no,
of background?
not really. I didn't understand it. I think I'm like a lot of people who have woken up to it recently and sort of see it in a deeper level now. Um, it's one of those things that if you were critical of Israel at all, you got swatted with the anti-Semitic tag right away, and that just kind of makes you, I think, back away from even investigating it on some level. There's like a little bit of voodoo happening with that. And then we just lived through 3 years to where if you questioned a pharmaceutical experimental injection and said that you liked freedom, you got called a racist. 10 years ago, if you got called a racist, that was a crazy thing to get called. Now, if you haven't been called a racist in recent years, I wonder if you've fought for freedom enough. I'm not condoning racism, but you get used to it. You know what I mean? So now with this, and then having the good fortune to be friends with you and watching what you were putting out there and going like, and knowing how on point I pretty much think you always are. I mean, I'm not going to try to back everything you've ever said. I don't know everything you've ever said, but I tend to, look at you as a good source. So when you were being this passionate about this, it made me ask you questions. It made me research, and then Jimmy Dore's been doing a lot of really good work on this as well. And then Norman Finkelstein, like he is influential to me as well. And just, I mean, it's just such an unequal situation. It's worse than an apartheid. It like, you need to treat people as equals, or war will be the result. Roger Waters wrote something, I think, right after October 7th, to something to that effect. Like, inequality, the result of inequality is endless war. And
Yeah.
and it's, how true is that, right?
Yeah, and I know you've talked about this on your show, this issue, and we had previous interviews. You've also talked to other people about. You've been platforming people to have this discussion, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, but your approach to this is that you're taking a pro peace position, but you're saying,
Yeah,
but we can't ignore the factors that led up to this. It's important to understand the
right.
humanitarian context, and you want all people in this region to live together in peace and not be for fear of violent reprisals and things like this. I think you've been pretty clear about your position. You're not taking a side per se. You're not favoring one side against the other, but you're saying there is a grave injustice here that needs to be corrected, and the killing needs to stop basically, and then we can try to build a solution to this. Is that a fair assessment of where you're coming from?
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. That's it. I mean, again, it really, like, I started speaking out on mRNA when they started talking about giving it to children. You know, when I see that many numbers of children being bombed, it's like, dude, come on, man. Almost anything else, like, no, anything else. And if if you're a war hawk and you believe in war and you think war is the answer and that's the way you're going to have to go rout out Hamas. I mean, if there's 40,000 of them or whatever the number is and they're living in tunnels under Gaza, I mean, you can't carpet bomb Gaza and expect to get 40,000 Hamas members in tunnels if they're in these magical tunnels. And so also how many like Elon Musk has famously said now, every time you kill a kid over there, how many Hamas members are you creating? Hamas is an idea, it's an outgrowth of being repressed and oppressed. Every time any group that was, put down, what do you call it, treated it like inferior, black, from African Americans to Native Americans, they had slave revolts and they had revolts and they were called animals and savages and all that. But people are people. What's weird is what we're seeing on X is a lot of, like, these people that we sort of aligned with because of mRNA and freedom of speech and all that stuff are now um, just kind of being open. Yeah, and I mean, I can't believe I'm gonna call people racist. Am I turning woke? Like, that's the other thing. Like, why do I agree with who do I agree with now? I agree with Mark Ruffalo. I thought that would never happen. Like, I saw you post him and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm on the same team as Mark Ruffalo and Bernie Sanders all of a sudden again.
Greta
But
Thunberg.
I
I'm
saw
retweeting.
that. I
uh,
saw.
Gre-
Kind of feels good to be on Team Greta for a second. No,
I don't know. I'm still not
I,
sure about that, but
I know. I don't know
but
either,
uh,
dude. But
I
but
get your point. Yeah, yeah.
but we're seeing this open, for lack of a better, forgive me, Father, for saying this, but racism and like this otherness thing that's happening, and like that's
Mhm.
why I kind of like sort of poked at James Wood, like, we need to end this. What are you implying with end this? Because I don't think you're implying end the war. I don't think you're implying, and it was a lady who was shouting about, yeah, sure, killing, I'm not for killing either side, by the way, either. And it's so weird when you do speak out on this and then you get called anti-Semitic, even by calling it a genocide. That's one of my Jewish friends said. I heard you're posting anti-Semitic stuff, and I say, what do you mean, man? I love Lou Reed, Leonard Cohen, and Bob Dylan are like my heroes on earth. Like, they're all Jews, dude. I love the Jews. Like, what are you kidding? But I don't love what Israel's doing. From what I know about Zionism, it seems pretty evil to me. I'm not an expert, but I mean, if you want to ethnically cleanse an area, that just seems like, what are you kidding? Like, really? Sorry, I don't think you can do that. Like, what the fuck, dude? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's
Well,
weird.
it's going to
And
create
it's also
problems.
trauma.
Yeah.
It's trauma based, man, because these people are so this narrative of the world wants to kill us, right? Whenever you have, it becomes a self fulfilling prophecy. If you go with where fear tells you to go, then all of a sudden your fears manifest and you do stuff in such a way that actually brings uh, you know, not anti-Semitism, but just like, hey, what the F are you doing? Stop doing that. Like, you need to stop this. It seems pretty simple.
Well, look, the track is amazing, and I'm not just saying that because I was around when or with you when it was sort of it grew from the dish of your creative lab there, where you create art, you create music, you create conversations on your little amazing studios, but. But it is a great track. I think when you put it out, we'll play it in a moment. We'll play the video version actually, Joseph. But um, so when you put it out, it was like, how long ago was that? That was about when you first put the first version out on Twitter. It was very controversial, like even saying the word ceasefire. You remember that?
Dude,
You just
yeah.
talk about that and how things have
It's
changed.
it's unbelievable, man. And we were I think we were I'm sure we were saying it to each other that night. Like, why is it crazy to say ceasefire? Who makes these rules up, dude? Like, it was crazy to question Big Pharma all of a sudden. I mean, I spent my whole life, no one gave a crap about Big Pharma. Like, nobody thought Big Pharma was a religion that you couldn't, you know, say anything bad about until, like, all of a sudden it was decided that that's exactly what it is. Same thing with peace and ceasefire. It was like it just became conflated with anti-Semitism. The weirdest one, I think, was Bernie Sanders, because he was saying everything he was saying was ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. Yet he wouldn't say those two, like, sort of, what do you call it, bullhorn words or dog whistle words, so to speak. He wouldn't say that. But it literally, the content of everything he was writing was, please cease fire. This needs to stop. Yet, and then he was then ratioed underneath with everyone saying, dude, just say cease fire. Why can't it's like, and if you think about the insanity, the insane games that human beings play with this stuff, like what becomes controversial, when, why, it's it's hard to fathom. But yeah, I was out super early. I mean, really, thanks to you. But you know, and it's funny. My Jewish friend said, "Yeah, you're going to want to be on the right side of history with this one," implying that I wasn't. And I don't feel that that's the case. I feel like I said, with all the confusion, and I owned up to him. Okay, yeah, I'm sure I'm victimized by propaganda to some degree too, and we can't ever lose all humility and think we have all the answers and know exactly what's right at all the times. But I'm pretty confident that when thousands and thousands and thousands of children are dying in a region because bombs are being dropped, I'm pretty confident saying ceasefire now is the right side of history. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think so. Yeah, we're just trying to queue up your video in a moment, but yeah, everything that you said is absolutely on point, Joseph, and so is your work on this. I
Thanks,
think,
man. It's largely due to my friendship with you, bro. For real. I mean,
and yeah,
but yeah, I feel good about it. And the song's a grower. It's actually grown. I remember when I wrote it, like after we went to the old kava bar. Oops. and like and and it was kind of lame that night. It was okay. Something, it came out in the recording really well, and then when after the recording, you kind of like evolve. A song evolves interestingly, and this one did, and this one grew a lot. It was like, wow, this is actually strong. I played it live in Ohio too. I just did a recent Thanksgiving gig there, and I played it both at the gig and on radio there in Ohio. So, and yeah, people loved it. People were like, "Man, that song really moved me." So,
I know a lot of people that just from the first posting you did, and they, downloaded it. They it's still going in their head. It's very
yeah,
catchy. It's got a hook, really,
yeah.
and a good message too. and a
And I
real
kind of made
positive
it
message.
Pink Floydy on purpose, you because of Roger Waters.
Hmm.
Which okay, we talked about this on Camelback, and you probably don't want to go into it, but
Go ahead, go
you
ahead.
already
Why
know what
not?
I'm going to say, right?
I no, no,
You don't?
I'll go
No,
for it.
just
Go
him
for it.
getting called an anti-Semitic. I
Oh, Roger
have
Waters is being accused of that, wasn't he? Because he
yeah,
was
by
calling
Brett
for a cease.
Weinstein
He
even,
was
which
calling a
struck me.
ceasefire.
I,
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't like. What's the guy saying that's anti-Semitic?
Nothing.
What am I missing
You're
here? I
not missing
don't.
anything.
Okay, good, because I feel like
Yeah. It 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 it's just the term is being rendered meaningless just by the
right.
amount how it's being casually flung around.
Yep.
And Roger Waters is about the most one of the most left wing characters that I know in this space of
Yeah.
creativity and politics. So he's definitely on the hard left. He's an anti-racist campaigner. He's equal rights. He is
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious who Roger Waters is. He's not like a crypto fascist or anything, but
Oh, I know.
he's being accused by everybody of this just because he has gone off message. He does not adhere to the mainstream narrative on this issue. He's asking questions. He says, "Look, we don't know all the facts about what happened on October 7th and what's going on now that's being justified by what we think we know about October 7th is patently wrong. It's war crimes. It's a crime against humanity." So you know, that's it. So what else can we
Yeah,
say?
I mean
You know?
that's the other thing too. It's like that's what they. You, it's weird, man, and I keep bringing up mRNA as an example, but no matter like somebody was telling me about the CDC, and I was like, no matter the CDC could have this new information front page on their website, and the people that hold on to the original narrative that made them correct in whatever they decided to do will just refuse to even acknowledge it, even when the sources that they trusted initially come out and sort of verify that they got it wrong. It almost doesn't matter. And like the same way, like you said, so much of that original October 7th narrative had been debunked, like the decapitated babies and the numbers, and then how much the IDF had to do with some of the civilians being shot from the helicopter campaign. They, just like that, like the story shifted from this monstrous, barbaric, decapitating babies ritual into something else. Also not good, also terrible, also nothing I'm condoning or saying, yeah, I'm glad they did that. They got what they deserved. Nothing like that, obviously. And I feel really bad and horrible for all the Israel lives lost as well. Like, that's brutal. And, that shouldn't be forgotten or ignored either, and I think a lot of the sort of sentiment of the public at large, though, is going towards the Palestinian people simply because the numbers are crazy and because the bombing continues. So it's like I think even for if you want to talk about being not anti-Semitic as well, I think calling for a ceasefire is the least anti-Semitic thing you can do. Is that the right? I was too many least and antis, but
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? Because you're
Mm,
protecting the Jewish people that way as well. Because like what are they manifesting by doing this? You know what I mean? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Would you want to be on the other side of that karma, dude?
no, definitely not. And
Hell no,
you know,
dude.
a ceasefire, stopping the violence, stopping the bombing, is really the first priority. It should be the first priority, and then we can what I guess we can negotiate, and people can figure out where to go from there. But at least
Right.
we can all agree that that is the most important thing now. And getting to that point, Joseph, has just been such a painstaking journey to get people onto that page, and they're not even there yet, Joseph. That's the
Mm,
crazy thing about this situation. So there's
mm.
still people umming and ahhing of whether it's
Yeah.
a good thing or not to stop bombing civilians.
Dave
I really.
Rubin lost his mind, dude. I used to kind of like Dave Rubin. I think he's like seems like a mental patient now. And Ben Shapiro, what like dude, like you're insane, bro. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So it really this is seems like some people have just lost their marbles on this. It's like
Mhm.
you know there there's been thousands of children killed. Like how can you not be outraged at that? I don't understand that. I I don't understand. Well, Hamas. It's like, okay, you really think this is how you're going to get rid of Hamas? You are giving Hamas life when you do this. You are giving them life. You are giving them justification. You are giving them energy. You are building them up. That's all you are doing, and you are destroying innocent lives. That's it. And there's
Mhm.
no other way to look at this. Period. Sorry.
Well,
That's it. If you want to get rid of Hamas, treat everyone equal. Let people live. Let people dream. Let people come and go. Treat them as equal. Let everybody coexist. Grow up. Don't need your own place that has to be, a pure Jewish state. That doesn't even make sense, man. You can't kick a whole people out of their homeland. You can't do that. It doesn't work. This clearly doesn't work. So just do a two-party whatever. I'm not a political expert, but two two-party state, right?
or
is
all
that the
how about,
solution?
well, it's a
Or
bit
one
naive.
party? I don't. Okay.
All parties living together, equal rights, together, and whoever likes it can stay. Whoever doesn't like it can go. It's as simple as that. Isn't that the
Right.
contract that we have in America? It's we have a constitution. We have equal rights under the law. If people like it, if they don't like it, then they might leave. But most people like it. This is why it's an inclusive and successful overall society. I don't want to get into the foreign policy debate on the U.S. side, but
Right.
any country that has equal rights under the law, no matter what your race is, no matter what your religion is, no matter what your ethnicity is, certainly that's what people should be striving for. In this world, and that's what people have fought and died for, in fact. But for some reason, this idea has been suspended in this situation we're seeing in the Middle East, which is a bit incredible when you think about it. When you think the people that are advocating for the segregation and the apartheid are people living in America, which doesn't make any sense at all because it wouldn't be good for Americans wouldn't accept it here at home. Canadians wouldn't accept it.
That's
Mexicans
what's
wouldn't
nut.
accept it. Yeah,
That's what's
Europeans
bananas
wouldn't
to me.
accept it.
Nobody would accept it. Why would you think they should accept it? Like, there's
I,
really just very strange, man, because the only way to sort of justify that expectation is to put an entire people below you. As if you're looking at them as equal and you wouldn't accept that, how can you expect them to accept that? I mean, what's the deal, Patrick? What is the end result of Zionism? What do they actually want? Would they just like all the Palestinians to be gone and just make it all nothing but Jewish people in
it,
in Gaza and in
it
all of Israel? Is that the
it
vibe
depends
or
who it depends who you ask, but you're right, Joseph, in pointing out earlier that there is this we have to this idea on the Israeli or Zionist side is we need to get rid of this Palestinian problem. We need to push them into other countries. Maybe the other Arab countries will take them. Why don't the Saudis build a nice futuristic home for the Palestinians somewhere in the desert? They have the money from the oil. These are literally the arguments that I've been hearing from people constantly over the years. And instead of saying, "Hey, why can't people just have one state and everybody has equal opportunity, equal rights under the law?" That seems to be completely out of bounds for a lot of people advocating for what is effectively a pure ethno state, a pure religious or ethno state, which many people would think, I think on this planet would say there's really no place for that in the 21st century,
Doesn't
let
seem
alone the
like it.
20th century. But so Joseph, it's not about getting rid of Hamas. It's about getting rid of the conditions that would lead to some kind of a
Hamas.
radical revolutionary movement to 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 grow out of. I mean, if that's really the goal, is peace and harmony and prosperity, then it's not even about Hamas. It's about the conditions that lead to revolutionary or liberation movements. If you're liberated, you don't need a liberation movement. It's as simple
Right.
as it's as simple as
And
that.
that's
So,
isn't that funny how that works?
or a terrorist, as some will say, or a terrorist group. It depends what labels we're using here. Those are becoming more and more pejorative, I think, as
And
well
so,
in this
yeah, of
discussion.
course, that's true. Well, it's just all dehumanization, as the song says. The propaganda leads to dehumanize our fellow humans and silence their cries. But like, so on the devil's advocate side of things, um, it's the people of Israel feel like, oh, well, if we just all live equally, they're going to try to kill us. Is that the reason they don't want to all just like live in harmony or even attempt that?
That's the feeling. I've heard that. There's a very strongly vocalized by a lot of Israelis and ex-Israelis of saying that, oh, they won't let us live together, but they do live together in Jerusalem and in East, parts of Israel. There are Arab Israelis, there are Palestinians living in that society. So I think it's presumptuous to think that it's impossible and it can never happen, because you know what? If the white people in South Africa said that it was impossible to live with the blacks, then there would be no post-apartheid South Africa. It would just be a complete disaster that would have led to the end of apartheid. And they managed to have a transition. It's not perfect in South Africa. I'm not naive, but they do live. People do live together, white and black, after apartheid. So if the Africans and the settlers there can do it, it means that it's possible that it can be done elsewhere. That's my belief. I know that people will say that's impossible. This is a different situation. You can't trust this person or you can't trust that side. Both sides are saying that, Joseph, at each other.
Let me
Um,
ask you a question. How oh, sorry, did I cut you off? Were you still
no,
going?
go ahead. Go ahead.
So how does it make you uncomfortable all of a sudden that you're aligned with the wokesters? I mean, because like I gotta say, I gotta admit, the only doubt I have is like, how am I on team woke now? Like
But
this is weird.
I'm
What
not.
about you?
I'm not aligned with anybody per se. I mean, look, if
You know
it's
what I mean, though.
yeah,
All of a
if
sudden, we're in this complete flip flop from where we were. You know,
for okay,
that's
if I happen to go on a pro-Palestinian march in New York City and I'm standing there marching and AOC walks up next to me, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who I would disagree on 99 out of 100 issues.
she is kind of cute though. Like so.
Ah, don't even go. I think she's married
Okay.
now, so
uh,
we shouldn't.
what?
No attempt.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
So she's off the market. She's off the market.
Okay. Okay.
So
I forgot. I forgot. My apologies. My apologies to her husband. You're right. That's
I
terrible.
didn't want to even bring it in that direction, Joseph.
All
But there,
right. I was just trying
there
to
you've gone
lighten.
and done it.
I'm
You've
trying to
gone and
lighten
done
up the
it.
show a little bit. We're
You've gone and
getting
done it.
heavy.
I'm way too. I'm too center right for her, or too right wing
Yeah.
for her. But we agree on this issue, and so isn't that the important point, is that even in politics, if you can disagree on so many issues, if you can all agree on treating people with human dignity and basic human rights and saving lives and protecting children and not killing them, not using the military indiscriminately against civilians in densely populated areas, if we can all agree on this, right, left, center, libertarian, whatever, at least from that point, we can build a civilization and a society. If we can't agree on those basic principles, we are in danger of losing our society and our civilization. That's the argument that I'm making here. And so I don't care if they're the left or they're woke or anti-woke or whatever. I really don't. That to me has become so um, not even a priority. It's insignificant this situation calls for people to dig down and have a deeper understanding of themselves and of their community and of the world. And I see there's a lot of people kicking and screaming, Joseph. It's like this, as my friend Jason Leosatos, who's a very controversial artist and an author, said, the human race, there's a new human race that is waiting to be born, and it is a painful delivery, a long and painful delivery. And there are people kicking and screaming. They don't want to leave the womb of the old world. And there's a new world waiting to be born, but it's people that just don't want it to happen. And I think there's a lot of truth in his statements there on that. I think we can take something from that. But go ahead, and
there has
we'll
to be
keep
something good about all this. Like there has to be an up level of our consciousness in general. You know, like we must be going somewhere. And it's just the way life works. You don't have a lot of suffering and a lot of pain and all this sort of animosity and tension without it evolving us the other direction as well. So hopefully we are waking up and growing, and it seems like our consciousness is expanding, and it seems like time is moving faster.
So we're going to play this song, the video here, Ceasefire Now. If you're listening on social media, you might want to turn the volume up a little bit. But here it is, Joseph Arthur, Ceasefire Now.
Sides when their mothers cry, and no real way to justify their death that comes from an evil sky. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. Damaged like a nuclear bomb, Dresden in a kill box. People can't escape. They're told to leave, but where can they go? A genocide, some think it's biblical faith. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. Might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are? 'Cause this might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are? Digital images and digital lies cut out their heart along with their supplies. The propaganda leads to dehumanize our fellow humans and silence their cries. Ceasefire now. say about who we are? This might be the last time. Raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are?
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Ceasefire Now by Joseph Arthur, recording artist, singer, songwriter. Amazing, Joseph. Amazing. So how many takes did that guitar solo take?
You know the answer. One take, bro. One take. It was a throwdown. Right in this chair, actually. Right here. I got my little Fender Champ right there, and it's good, man. I love playing a guitar solo. It's kind of, I guess that makes me a boomer. If you like guitar solos, you must be a boomer. But there you go.
Indulgent, gratuitous guitar solos. It's a real
boomer rock, dude.
Yeah, that's a real hallmark of the 80s and 90s. So I was impressed, Joseph, in how quickly you wrote the lyrics for that. You literally in minutes. And you put the bones of that song together like literally within a couple of hours, and then it sort of took shape when you go into you write the basic song on acoustic guitar, and then you go into production, and then it builds out and like becomes this bigger thing with all the different layers you put in there. It's interesting how you did that.
Often that's the way it works. Yeah, it's sometimes you keep it really simple and acoustic, but yeah, with that one, I don't know. It called for harmonies, and then sort of, it's almost like writing a poem. You don't really know what the whole poem's going to be, or you have an idea of a line, and then once you write that line, another line is suggested to you from somewhere. That's the recording process is a lot like that, or just like painting, with layers and stuff like that. So it's just like once you begin the process, it sort of starts to guide you. So it's not all in your mind how it's going to be. And and I don't know, some of the stronger songs tend to go quicker, I think. Like lyrically, it's just a little bit more effortless. If you're really using your mind to make lyrics, they're usually pretty rough, I would say. They sound contrived because because they are. So it's like comes from more of an instinctual place. So time-wise, it doesn't tend to take that long, especially if you're tapped in and if something has a strength kind of inherent to it,
No, definitely. And actually, the video you did was very appropriate, very simple. You did that very much on the moment as well. And
that's just a glitch app. I used this glitch app and took some photos I found and various filters and laid them out. But yeah, it's okay actually. And then I think and I did an acoustic version as well, which I quite like. I took out one of the verses, made it a little shorter. I think I only do the middle 8 once, so it's like more of like a 4-minute. Perhaps I'll upload that later today. Maybe I'll put that on Bandcamp as well, because that's a good version, and I have a video for that, but it's just me in the studio performing it. So, but still, I think it's a strong version of it too. No guitar solo though, so you definitely have the right one.
No, great. It was a great piece, and I hope everybody can go and download it. We'll try to drop a download link below the live stream here.
Yeah, please do.
Somebody hopefully will do that in a moment. But yeah, Joseph, I don't know if you have anything else you want to say on this. We're probably going to wrap this segment up in a couple minutes, but
Well, yeah,
your final
I just
thoughts.
I wanted to ask you, like, because obviously we heard there's a ceasefire, and I saw your video about like this is, you know, great for a much needed temporary reprieve from all this. But I just wanted to get your insight on what's the state of that. Then I heard like there was some civilians still shot and whatever. So I just wanted to know the state of that ceasefire and what you predict will be the result of that.
Well, there have been violations of the ceasefire on the Israeli side, multiple. We've documented them. We've also reported on them. We've had journalists from on the ground come on our different programs on TNT on Friday. A great Lebanese journalist, Leila Hatoum, she talked about some of this as well. Robert in Lakesh today talked about some of these things, but that's pretty well known. But it seems like the process is still going to play out, and there'll be hostage exchanges. And my feeling on this is there's upwards now, after the October 7th, the Israelis imprisoned quite a few more Palestinians in this sort of system of gulag prisons that they have around. A lot of Americans aren't aware there's upwards of 9,000 Palestinians incarcerated under various forms of, quote, administrative detention, which is basically prison without trial, or sometimes without charge. Children held for years, and for what anyway. Some of them have been released, and I think it's allowed the world to see that this is actually a thing, that this mass incarceration of political prisoners by the occupying forces has been going on for decades, and there's people that have been in there for decades. And so this is an issue that predates October 7th, obviously.
Yeah,
but you can see even more.
Even I know that, yeah. Dude. Like,
so
like, why was Robert F. Kennedy Jr. saying unprovoked attack? It's like, what are you talking about, man? Like, I even knew that. I like I said, I wasn't that informed about the what's going on over there, but I knew that much. I was at least that informed. It's bizarre.
So for those families to see those family members, it's like a young boy who's now 15 or something like this, and who was taken when he was 9 or 12 or whatever, to see them and to allow them to reunite. I think this is a positive thing. And of course, on the Israeli side, for them to the Israeli hostages or the Thai migrant workers, or whatever, to return to their families.
100%, man.
Fantastic. And maybe more of this needs to happen. And it would be great if this happened under the aegis of a permanent ceasefire. That would even be better, I think. But until those injustices are
of course,
that imbalance is corrected, we're gonna have more fighting. There's going to be more bad blood. There's going to be more tension. And that hasn't gotten us, I think, anywhere positive so far. But unfortunately, I'm going to say, Joseph, there's more of that to come. And I say that with a very heavy heart, but it's true. I gotta
ask you one other question. Now, are you for president? Are you in support of Cornel West, because he's literally the only candidate that's taking an anti-war stance in all this? So, how important is this issue to you? Does that make you mean that he is the only candidate you'll support, or what? Sorry. Ooh. Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Short answer is I wouldn't vote for Cornel West on a single issue. However, I love what he's saying,
and
I
come right up though, and this issue has him up, dude.
I support him. Yeah. I give him great props. Cornel West has shown a great side of himself, and
I agree.
And he's done justice to this issue, and to go up against the grain and against all the media in America and all the vitriol that's come his way. He has the my utmost respect, and of a lot of people I know a lot of libertarians that are saying they respect Cornel West for his position, and a lot of
I do.
anti-war people, anti-war conservatives that respect Cornel West, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
We agree on what we can agree on. We come together on what we can agree on and make it happen. That's what it's about. Politics is about compromise, and I will compromise on a lot of different levels. If there's somebody that I know I can stand shoulder to shoulder on some major important issue, I'll make compromises just to keep that friendship, to keep that relationship going. And I think we see too much polarity now, where people are just canceling each other, wanting to, just discount somebody, or because of their flag, or their this or their that. Okay, I understand it's divisive, but when tough times and difficult times require difficult things and difficult decisions, and one of those is you got to go and make amends where you can, with as many people as you can, to be able to achieve something that desperately needs to happen, like this issue. This could spill over into a third world war very easily. So the motivation should be there for everybody to make sure that something can be done
You would
together.
think, man. But
Yeah.
there's definitely people motivated for chaos and destruction and calamity. There are a lot of people with deep pockets that want chaos, obviously. And you speak of cancel culture. What about Susan Sarandon got dropped by her talent
I saw
agency
that.
for her pro-Palestinian stance? How whack is that?
That's pretty incredible. I mean,
That's insane.
her, and also I think Melissa Barrera, I think her name was, another actress. But free speech in Hollywood is not as much of a value as as they claim. But anyway, it's sad. But anyway, my position on that, Joseph, is that those people that are being canceled for speaking out, and for on whatever reason, maybe their speech isn't like perfect and manicured for public relations speak, but the intention is there, and the compassion's there, and they're with the people. The people are very clear on speaking, clear on this issue. The media and government are in another place. The people are speaking one voice. The media and the government are speaking for another set of interest, let's say. And there's a big gap between these two things,
And
and
what
not
is
just
that
on this issue.
interest? What is that interest? Why do they have such a stronghold? Why is every presidential candidate, apart from Cornel West, like sort of like rah 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 rah, afraid to say ceasefire? Why is that? What is this
Said it.
stranglehold?
You just answered your own question. Afraid to say ceasefire. It's fear. It's fear of being
But
canceled,
why?
marginalized,
But
because
because of the
because
anti-Semitic tag? Is that what it
th-
is?
that's one thing that I think politicians are sensitive and fearful of, that they could end their career in a heartbeat. They feel like they can do more positive things if they stay in the system than to put it all on the line for this issue, or
A
for
single issue.
Palestinian people who they've never met and will maybe never see. And they're so distant and far away. Why should I care
Hmm.
about these Arabs out in the Middle East, in the desert, as Americans say, like the Republicans? They're out in the
Hmm.
desert, and just move them to another desert, kind of thing. Why would they sacrifice their career, their future earnings, and maybe in their mind their ability to do good within the system on other issues, for the sake of these forsaken people out in the Middle East? Why? They're answering that question, asking that question in their head. And I think it's fear. It's also because politics is about power, I think, and people will always defer. Most people will defer to power. Very few people will go against power. And those are the revolutionaries. Those are the real dissidents. Those are the people that can make change in history and can move the dial uh, on, on a global level as well in history. And I don't see any of those people in Washington, not in Congress, not in the Senate, definitely not in the White House. If such a person existed, or if Joe Biden had this impulse that he wanted to do something positive for humanity, he would have done it 6 weeks ago. He would have put his foot down 6 weeks ago, summoned the
He's
courage
not
to
even
do what's
there.
right, but he
He's not
didn't.
even there, dude. That's why
he
we need
did
to
it.
run, bro. I'll be your
Yeah.
vice president. Let's get to Washington. Let's do this, man.
He's oh, don't even start. You're gonna start a meme going around. I don't want to. I don't even want to feed that one at the moment, please. I just want to get through this broadcast without some technical hitch happening, Joseph. You know how it
went
is.
well. Are we done?
I think so. I think we're going to wrap it up,
Yeah.
man. I just want to say big thanks to you. Big thanks to big thanks to stepping up on this issue and also on previous issues, Joseph, because you're not just a professional troublemaker in late 2023. You've been making trouble for a while.
Making trouble. Yeah, I'm sort of getting. It's becoming a habit. You know, here I am again making more trouble. So there you go. I'm happy to do it. You know, it's just like I don't know. I feel compelled certain times to raise my voice, and I think most people should raise their voices if they can. I understand fear, but it will take you on an adventure if you allow yourself to speak your mind, because that is how we evolve through our words. And if we repress our voices, we thwart our own evolution. So ceasefire now.
Well said, Joseph Arthur. Yeah. And Joseph, give us a shout out of where people can find more of your views.
JosephArthur.com. Instagram is at Joseph_Arthur. I'm shadow banned to Carnation and back over there. X at Joseph Arthur, and TNTRadio.live. TNT every Saturday. My new time is 6 p.m. Eastern. New time rocks, dude. I had a great show last night. More energy. I was going on at 9 p.m. Eastern till like 1 a.m. or something. Now it's 6 p.m. till, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4-hour stretch there. So every Saturday night, TNTRadio.live, which is now on video. So that's exciting. So yeah, that's it. JosephArthur.com. Bandcamp. Check out Ceasefire Now. Share it. Get it out there. I think it's worthy to spread the message of peace and try to maintain this ceasefire.
Yeah, go ahead and to retweet this live broadcast. Joseph, drop your Bandcamp link just below our live video in the replies on X, if you can. And
I'll do that.
Big thank you. And tune into Joseph Arthur is the best music show, literally, that you can possibly listen to.
It's real good. James Hall was on yesterday. If for those that know, that's a legend. That's Marilyn Manson's biggest influence. And Griffin House was on there. And then artist Todd DeCercio. We do the kind of more cultural stuff on TNT. So it's like some news talk stuff, but a lot of it is just like art based and entertainment based stuff. So it's kind of looser format.
For you guys listening on the video stream here, we're going to switch over to alternate current radio. Go to 21stcenturywire.com. There's a link on our show page just below on Twitter as well. Go to 21stcenturywire.com, and we'll go on the audio stream for the final segment just after this break here with ACR. So we're signing out. Myself, Patrick Henningsen, Joseph Arthur. Thank you guys for tuning into the segment, and stick around on the audio stream with ACR, and the Sunday Wire will resume. So we'll see you guys in just a few.
Love you, brother.